Good morning. Happy Friday. We made it. We made it to Friday. There's apparently some confusion on James Freeman. Some people are thinking that he's not charged with domestic violence. Some people think that he is. Some people are saying that the charges that are reflected online don't show domestic violence, blah, blah, blah. So there is no specific, in Arizona, there is no specific charge domestic violence. Domestic violence is like a modifier to an existing charge. And one of the possible crimes it can be a modifier to is disorderly conduct. One of the subsections of disorderly conduct is fighting. So if you look at James Freeman's charges online, it's disorderly conduct, fighting. Now, what the domestic violence modifier does, we'll call it a modifier, it has to, on the actual charging documents, not the online record, but on the actual complaint, it has to have it has to say DV, disorderly conduct, fighting, right? It has to have the DV modifier on there. If it doesn't, nothing really changes. It doesn't affect it, but it's required under statute to have it. What that does is it requires certain things to happen. If he's convicted of that disorderly conduct without the DV modifier, he wouldn't have to do domestic violence prevention treatment. But with the DV modifier, one of the things he would have to have as part of his sentence or plea agreement would be the domestic violence prevention treatment program. It doesn't add any years, generally speaking. I think there's a modifier in there if you like physically assault someone who's pregnant. I think it adds 2 years to the maximum sentence or something like that. But the actual charges are disorderly conduct. It just has the DV modifier to it. And just because it doesn't show it online doesn't change anything. I listened to the arraignment when it was live. I double checked by listening to a recorded version on YouTube. And he is charged with, for example, disorderly conduct, domestic violence. So it's disorderly conduct with that domestic violence qualifier, and it's still disorderly conduct. It's from the disorderly conduct statute, but it has the modifier from the domestic violence statute in it. So I hope that explains it. He's definitely charged with domestic violence related offenses. Those offenses include fighting and I don't remember what all the domestic violence charges are, but I think there's like 4 misdemeanors and 1 felony. Oh yeah, domestic violence, it's disorderly conduct. Instead of fighting, it's damage to property between $1,000 and $2,000. So it is domestic violence related. So I hope that clears it up. He's not charged with domestic violence. He's charged with crimes that are involved with the domestic violence. And she could use the criminal code to get a domestic violence restraining order against him, whatever they call them in Arizona. She doesn't have to go through the civil courts like the gal did in Lane Myers. She could go actually to the criminal court in this case and get a domestic violence protection order. And if he gets released on bail or bond, whichever one he decides to go with, the court is required to put a protective order in place to protect the family from James until such time as trial is concluded, and then any sentence would probably also include a restraining order, probably. Speaking of which, the bond, I guess there's been like a GoFundMe or a Give Send Go or something like that. I don't really know. People keep talking about it in my comment section like I care. And, it's a big grift, whatever. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. You don't know. But you have to remember that one of the fundamental bases of our legal system is the right to bond. It is a constitutional right. You have the right to it. The purpose behind it is to give you the time to prepare your defense, hire an attorney, gather facts, things like that. And it's a lot easier to do that from outside of jail than it is from inside of jail. So, I personally am not in favor of the people who are calling in my comment section to have the Give, Send, Go or GoFundMe or whatever the hell it is taken down. I I hope that James Freeman gets a full and fair trial, unless he pleads prior to trial. But I hope he gets a full and fair trial. I hope he has every opportunity to hire competent counsel to gather all the facts that he needs to defend himself. So, and that's just because I am, in case you didn't catch this with me and Warden, I am a big fan of a full and fair trial. Big fan. I don't like to see people railroaded at all, period. I like it when the justice system is as fair as possible. Whether I like the defendant or not, whether I like the plaintiff or not, I want a fair trial. And that's my bias. So, I guess you caught me. There's my bias coming through. I like fair trials. And the last thing I notice is people are starting to say things like, apparently people are alleging sexual assault against the minor daughter. I haven't seen anything about that. I think that's entirely speculation. I think that's just the rumor mill. I will doubt it 100% until I see charges filed on it. And even then, I will still maintain enough impartiality to believe that there may not have been. So, until he's convicted after a full and fair trial. If it's not a full and fair trial, I still might have my doubts, or I still might not be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, I should say. But yeah, I would discount any of those rumors. I haven't seen anything along those lines. Nothing in Springer's history would suggest that he is that kind of a criminal. He definitely has issues with authority, and he doesn't like the way the laws are interpreted by the courts and the police. But I haven't seen anything related to sexual impropriety. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I would doubt those until there's something more substantive placed in front of me, other than just rumor mill gossip in comment sections. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I'm off to get my hair cut. Looking forward to that. So the next video you get from me, I should be high and tight. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.